Can Scottie Scheffler continue his dominance with a win at the U.S. Open, or will someone be able to take down the world number one? Hey, everyone. Welcome into another edition of On Tour with John McCarthy, presented by Callaway. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun National golf writer John McCarthy, who was at the U.S. Open. And, John, time to get your picks for the tournament. And as I mentioned off the top, Scottie Scheffler just playing out of his mind right now, and he is the big favorite going into the U.S. Open. He already has one major under his belt this season, winning the Masters. He's got a third-place finish last year, a T2, and a T7 at the U.S. Open in the last 3 years. But, as I mentioned, he is such a big favorite. Is there any value in going with Scheffler this week?
That's the tough word, value, because, he's sitting there around 3-1 right now, and that is a tough number to want to put your money on. There probably isn't much value in betting Scottie Scheffler, but the problem is he is most likely of anyone by a long shot going to win this tournament. I mean, listening to other players talk about it, the reverence they have for the way he's playing, we haven't heard anyone talk about another player like that since Tiger Woods. So in the beginning, when the comparisons to Tiger Woods started, it was still a bit laughable, but it's getting less laughable every week. He won again last week. He is easily the man to beat, and even Xander Schauffele, after winning the PGA Championship, in his winner's press conference, he said, I still have a long way to go to reach Scottie Scheffler. So whether there's value in it, that's the tough question, but he is by far the most likely to win this thing. But I do think if there is some value to be had in the markets right now, it might be betting the without Scottie Scheffler market, where you can take him out of the mix and then bet on who is going to be the next player if Scottie were to win. The non-Scottie Scheffler market is certainly one that I'm willing to bet on.
Yeah, that's probably the better way to go. It's sort of bet at your own risk right now, not taking Scottie Scheffler with the way that he is playing. Looking further down the odds board, what are some long shots that are catching your eye that could make some noise this week at Pinehurst?
Yeah, well, let's go right through. We're looking at the regular markets, not the non-Scottie markets. In the regular market, I'll take you through sort of some mid picks and right to long shots. I like both Nordic golfers. I like Victor Hovland and Ludwig Åberg, both for different reasons. So Åberg is just burst on the scene. He's got maybe the most beautiful swing in the men's game, but he's also very young. And sometimes at an event like this, where there's so much pressure and so much disaster to be had at Pinehurst number 2, when not knowing what you don't know sometimes helps. And for a young guy like Ludwig Åberg with a swing like that, he's at 20-1. I like him there. Victor Hovland's also at 20-1, and he showed at the PGA Championship his game is getting back on track. He's still searching a bit for his swing, he said early in the week, but I also like him because he's sort of reaching. He's at that moment of his career where when things go wrong, he seems to be able to bounce back every time. Just when you think he's out of a tournament, he comes back and makes a few birdies. So he's sort of in that realm where he can take a lot of punches because he can give a bunch out too. So I like both Nordic golfers. They're both at 20-1. Then I started looking at players with overall game. This is a place where you're going to have to drive it straight. The approach shots are going to be vital. And then we all know around the greens, Pinehurst is perhaps the most difficult course they're going to play this year. So you need a guy with no holes in his game. Looking down the board, I like Max Homa. He's at 50-1. It's kind of a similar trajectory career-wise to Xander Schauffele. Now, he's not quite of the pedigree. Schauffele is also a decent bet at 11-1 because there's no flaws in his game. But at 50-1, Max Homa, great ball striker, a very patient guy, no real holes in his game. I think that's a great value at 50-1. A little further down, I like a former world number 1, Jason Day. Also, he's been there before. He's a great driver of the golf ball. He's got great touch around the greens. So he's at 80-1, and I think he had a bit of a career resurgence. If you can stand the pants he's wearing, I think he's worth a look at 80-1. And then if you go a bit further, not further down, but look at the Canadians on the board. We've got Corey Connors as the favorite of the Canadians. He's at 80-1. But the problem with Corey is, as good a ball striker as he is, which is going to be a great value here, his putting has been sort of a shortfall of his career so far, and there's going to be a ton of 8 to 10 foot par putts, so you're going to have to make those all week. And you'll see the big slopes on these greens, but once you get close to the hole in the 8 to 10 foot range, the breaks are much more subtle. And Connors has always struggled with the very subtle breaks on green, so I'm a little worried about the 8 to 10 foot par putts. I kind of like Adam Hadwin at 150 to 1. Of all the Canadian players, he's got a very complete game. You know, he might not be the best ball striker like Connors. He's not the best short game like Mackenzie Hughes. But like we said, there's no holes in his game. And at 150 to 1, and coming off, a great week where he was in contention battling Scottie Scheffler Memorial, I think if you want to bet a Canadian, 151 and Adam Hadwin is the way to go.
Yeah, I love those picks there. Love the Jason Day call with the crazy pants and the crazy outfits these days. He's definitely making some noise one way or another, and we'll see how he does this week at the U.S. Open. You can find all of John's U.S. Open coverage at the Toronto Sun.